I think we started streaming. Let me know if I started streaming. If you could all see me, this is what the welcome to the show. This is Loserly's Wrestling. Everyone, welcome. We're here. We're talking about BattleBots. This is Loserly's Wrestling, the woos and whats of season 6 of BattleBots. You all know what this is. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm live or not, and I think I am. Let's say we are. Thank you all so much for joining. This is Talkin Bots. Talkin Bots, Loserly's Wrestling content with Gear Tooth, Red Jefferson. Thank you all so much for being here. I think I'm live. It's gonna. I'm counting on all of you to help me out with this. Let's see if I am live. So much for being here. I think I'm live. You're live. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much, Joe, for sounding off in the comments. Yes, I am live, so I could continue talking like a real person. We're talking about BattleBots. We're talking about BattleBots here. Season 6 of BattleBots just started today, and I know I usually talk about wrestling, but I want to talk about BattleBots today. I want to talk about BattleBots, and I want to see if I could get BattleBots fans coming in and talking to us about wrestling. I'm sure there's some crossover. So we get season 6. I don't know. I'm just going to talk like everyone else is familiar with BattleBots. Endgame won last year. Endgame is a New Zealand bot, the first ever international. They have a thing called the Big Nut. That's their championship. It's called the Big Nut. And so we're just going to have to breeze past that. The fact that it's called that. But we had a lot of action last year, especially the fact because it was COVID. They kind of kept everyone in a little bubble in Los Angeles where there were no fans, but they had a show. I wish this was going on throughout COVID. This is the COVID sport. Let's see if you all agree. Thank you, Joe, for joining in the chat. We're talking BattleBots here. Joe writes in the chat, BattleBots, haven't seen that show in years. Yes, a lot of people haven't. That's the issue. I'm trying to help them out. I'm trying to get a job at Discovery. Let's start the show. They have this opening package. They start talking about all the bots that are coming back this year. Because of COVID, a lot of bots were missing last year. A lot of our favorites. We all want to know where Duck was. There was no Duck last year. But we're going to get Duck this year, but not on this show. We have a real hot night. Real hot show for you. Let's actually pull up the first match. I actually have a fight card that I designed. Let's see. Here we go. You see that on the bottom? I'm doing the tech today. By the way, if there's any issues right now, I sound somewhat like a robot. That's part of the plan. That's just part of the plan. We got Roy in the chat, co-host of the show. RIP free shipping. We're going to talk about free shipping. Free shipping is constantly destroyed, and that's part of the fun of free shipping. Free shipping always goes up in flames. That's why I love it so. We get Chris Rose and Kenny Florian welcome us. We see all the fans there. They're in Las Vegas, and they're all wearing masks. Isn't that refreshing? That they're all doing the thing they're supposed to? And this was during the summer, too, by the way. That's when they filmed it. This is not live. Roy Laswitz says, boom. So we get our first match of the night. SawBlaze versus Minotaur. I love Minotaur. Minotaur. They were really great. When I first watched the 2016 season, I think it was, and they were so dominant. They were crazy dominant. I had them as a lock in this match. SawBlaze being run by some MIT kids. Minotaur is a small drum spinner that's very heavy, and then you got SawBlaze, which is an axe hammer or a vertical spinner axe with a flamethrower attachment. And I was shocked. Minotaur did not take this out. And Minotaur early on got flipped over onto its back, and SawBlaze took advantage, smashing in, cutting some deep cuts in there, and causing it to be set on fire. It got out smoking flames. The weapon came broke. The SawBlaze weapon did become broke, but they won by decision. So it wasn't a decisive victory. I was upset about it, though. We have some comments here. Let's see these comments. Great show, Roy writes. Roy says, Chris Rose, big baseball guy. He seems like it. He acts like it. Joe writes, but we're the boys wearing masks, or do they claim immunity? Oh, you're talking about the fans. I'm still not sure what that means. Roy says, I thought the MIT team was Uppercut. There's two MIT teams. There are two MIT teams, or there are two teams with leaders from MIT, shall I say. Then we got Joe writing, so sorry, were the bots wearing masks? No, the bots. You guys are taking this offline here. Let's get back into this. Yeah, SawBlaze won. Very interesting. I would almost expect Minotaur to go all the way. I would almost expect that, but I did not get that. Well, who knows what the season may bring. I just want them to make a big comeback because they are pretty fun. And I love that driver. Danny Frentis, I think his name is. Really good. Moving on, we're getting the next match. There we go. Uppercut versus Gigabyte. Uppercut is the other MIT team. They actually, the lead driver for that one was actually on. Oh, do I have to turn that one off? I wonder if this makes it work better. I wonder if you guys could hear me better this way. We'll see. Sound off if I sound better after messing with that. We have Uppercut versus Gigabyte. Uppercut is a vertical spinner with like a little blade that's shaped like a fist. And we got Gigabyte, which is a full body spinner. Uppercut was really dominant last year. And Gigabyte has had dominant times, but like, I don't know, it's very hit and miss. He breaks easily. And if you flip it over, they're kind of fucked. So yeah, I was expecting Uppercut to win, and Uppercut does. What do we get here? Uppercut corners Gigabyte, and because Gigabyte needs to build up a lot of steam before it could hit, it tries to avoid at first, so it gets trapped in a corner. Big hits fast, because they both have a lot of momentum going. Then Gigabyte lasted longer than I expected, I said, but it was a quick match because they did break pretty easily. We have some comments in here. Uppercut. Sorry, watching the bots flip over is so stressful. It is. Because they're also 250 pounds. We have to keep that in mind. Then we got Uppercut. It does. You sound better. Perfect. Yes, much better. I am sounding off. Thank you all so much for sounding off. I see your sounds off, and I appreciate them. Moving on. We got to talk about some things. What else are we talking about? Next up, we get a new person to the ranks. By the way, last season had a lot of people missing. Maybe I mentioned that before, but there's a lot of people missing. We weren't getting our Gruffs. We weren't getting our Minotaurs. We weren't getting our... who else did we get? We got a lot of people coming back. Free shipping and Blacksmith, neither of them. We're going to get to them. But there was a lot of missing characters last year. So we get Switchback versus Gruff. Gruff has been around for a little bit. Gruff is a grapple bot or a lifter bot. Really just has two forks on the front that lift you up and down and kind of wrestles with you. And a flamethrower, the hottest flamethrower in BattleBots right now. Isn't that interesting? The hottest burner, they said. Facing Switchback, which is a new bot with, what was it, like a variable drum spinner. It's like a drum spinner on an arm. Very scary thing. And they go after each other. Who would I think? I like Gruff. I always like Gruff. Gruff gets control early. Great driving by Gruff. Gruff, the guy who drives for Gruff, he's a very funny looking guy. He looks like Bobby Moynihan, but he's a great driver. And he knocks out the back of what is it, a Switchback, and causes a fire. And we get Gruff torching them in the end, which was a real cool visual. I took a picture of it and I posted it on Instagram. Follow Loserly's Wrestling and check us out. If you like wrestling, you should check out our wrestling show. And if you like BattleBots, you should be watching this show. Glad that we're all on the same page there. We got some more sounding off. I thought Switchback had his based out of the construction, but he got wrecked. His based on the construction, but he got wrecked. Yeah, it looked interesting, but Gruff is just so sturdy. Roy says, yeah, I thought the drum spinner was going to destroy. Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was going to do more damage than it did, but it was the first outing. You have to keep in mind, a lot of these bots are learning about their weapons as they're using them for the first time. They don't have places to use these things. These are weapons. They could get arrested for turning these on in your garage. Moving on, we get Tombstone versus Captain Shrederator in what is the biggest upset of the night. For those of you who don't know, Tombstone is a very scary bot. And when I first watched, very dominant. It won the big nut at one time when competition was heavy and fierce. And they lost tonight. They lost to Captain Shrederator. Captain Shrederator being a full body spinner, and Tombstone being a horizontal spinner. But it speeds up really fast, and everyone's been very afraid of it. But we thought that it was gonna be a blowout because Captain Shrederator tends to lose every single time. Captain Shrederator is just a sweet bot that just frequently loses or breaks in the middle of a fight. We get some comments here. For those that don't watch, like me, how does this show work? Are they college teams or just random teams? New bots every episode season. A lot of comeback bots, Joe. We get a lot of bots that are recurring bots, but we also get some new ones. Some are schools. There's really no rhyme or reason to it, and there's also not a lot of money in it, so not a lot of people do it. Roy says it was crazy to hear about how they can't test it. Captain Shred, love a good underdog story. Joe, this is my first time watching this tonight. I think it's a tournament style. Well, it's a round robin right now. Right now, they're just having a round robin type style match, and it's all ages. I should talk about the show, or yeah, I'm getting too distracted by the chat. Yes, so it's a round robin style, and then there's a playoff tournament in the end with seed placement. So doing well in the round robin or the regular season is very beneficial towards the playoffs. You're learning a lot here. I hope everyone's looking at this and thinking about it. I wonder if I'm getting any BattleBots people. Sound off if you're a BattleBots person. I can't even tell how many people are watching. By the way, smash the like button. Smash the like button. We want those smashes. Smash that like button to let us know what's going on. But yeah, so Captain Shrederator and Tombstone, big hits early. And something breaks off of Tombstone's blade. It was like a little tooth on it just broke off, caused everything to go wobbly, which caused it to burn out its engine. And then it just stopped working, just broke. It was set on fire, I think, for a small bit. And then just died. KO win for Captain Shrederator. Big shocking win. Y'all don't know it yet, but that was a big shock. Smash that like button. Remember to smash that like button, but it was a big shock. Moving on, we got, and by the way, just saying, this show was chock full of content. Chock full, like if you watch some of those other ones, there's a lot of in-between stuff, which depending on the season was really interesting or terrifyingly like filler, just like a lot of fluff. But they actually really crammed it in here, and we were happy for it. Next up, we get a real fire battle. We got free shipping. Gary Jin driving for free shipping. Great driver. My favorite driver. Versus Blacksmith with Al Kindle at the helm from New Jersey. Free shipping at one point was a forklift bot, which I really like the design, but I guess it didn't work for them. So they minimized it. So it's a regular lifter bot with a flamethrower attachment, of course. And then you got Blacksmith, who used to have a regular, like almost a sledgehammer type on top with a flamethrower attachment, but he changed it because it really didn't get any damage. Nothing really ever happened when you were, there was no damage, no visible damage from, so even though Blacksmith is a great driver, he never won matches because he couldn't show any real damage on him. And so, well, this was a new bot. He has this new attachment that's a spinner on top of a hammer, which is supposed to cut like SawBlaze did to Minotaur early in the night. But we got some comments here. We have to talk about some comments. Super K68, hi to yourself. Thank you so much for joining us. Smash that like button. Roy says, free shipping Blacksmith, maybe fight of the night. Awesome driver. Love Gary. Yes, everyone loves Gary. Gary's a cult icon there. They have mugs. They have t-shirts of Gary. And we all want the best for Gary. I'm upset that Gary didn't win this fight. So spoiler, Gary didn't win this fight. They just immediately start setting each other on fire as soon as the bout starts. And the chain broke on free shipping. The chain broke early on free shipping, so he couldn't use the lifter very much, and then had to basically act as a wedge bot, just pushing around. But then Blacksmith got some hits in, and to be honest, this spinner hammer deal, while it looks better and it causes some sparks now, it's still not doing much damage. There's not much power or speed behind that blade, so I'm not seeing that win many fights except against people like free shipping or Duck. Just because, like, with those matches, you just have to last. But yeah, so there's that. But they go back and forth, and then Blacksmith wins by decision. Very fiery match, and they always go to decision. These two are about putting on the show. They really are. It's true. Chris Rose at the end. This guy, I'm sorry. I love the team, and I miss them. When I saw them all back again, I was pretty happy because I love this show. But Chris Rhodes really annoys me, and I think he really makes everyone uncomfortable. Kenny Florian, I like Kenny Florian. Kenny Florian does a good job. Farouk is a little much. Farouk is a little much. I really am jealous of that job, and I wish I had that job, the Farouk job, because I think I do a pretty good job. He makes a lot of content, he makes a lot of poems, and he says a lot of stuff. It's sometimes fun, but also sometimes it's just like, man, new blood. New blood. We got some comments in here. Joe writes, everyone should watch this show and this podcast so that we know how our new robot lords work. Skynet is coming. Skynet is coming. God, I hope it's not Matrix Resurrections. That movie sucked. It was fine. It was fine. It should have been different. It should have been a different story. I felt like I watched the first one over again. Roy says the spinner hammer looked like it was pretty effective. It just made sparks. You have to look at it again. Some weapons just make sparks. Some of those saws that look cool in the video, they just make sparks. But free shipping seems really made for longevity. Yes. The only time that free shipping isn't, there's that back little square on the back end of the bot that is their gas container or their battery, and that has exploded. Does free shipping always go to decision? Most always go to decision. That bot is literally made to last. Great driver. And Roy agrees that I would be great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Boy, wow, what a time. Moving on. Then we get a matchup that's just really the worst match in the card. But not the worst, but like the match I was least interested in. We get Pain Train versus Deep Six. Pain Train's a big fan, and I don't like, I like the guy, but the bot always like kind of fucks up. Like the blade just falls off. It's a drum spinner. It's a small little drum spinner, which means that it looks like a VCR, just looks like a wide VCR, and it could be effective, but I've never really seen it see what it could do. And it had its wheels exposed. Now, Deep Six is this giant vertical spinner that's basically like imagine Darth Maul if he had axes, like that axis on both heads, and it just spins around like that. And it's very heavy. It's like 100 pounds. It's very powerful. And it just chopped up that one wheel, caused Pain Train not to be able to move too well. And then it went for the kill. Just smashed it up real good with that axe and bashed it into the corner. I think it landed on the screws, and that was a KO. They counted it out. That was easy. I expected that, and I think we all expected that. Now we get the main event of the evening. Yeah, that's right. We made it here. Thank you all so much for joining me. This has been the main. This is. Oh, I forgot to change the goddamn slides. Pain Train. So we talked about that. Now we're on the main event. Main event. We got Hydra versus Endgame. So Hydra. God, I hate that guy. He's such a piece of shit. What's his name? Jake Euchre? Jake Ewert? Jake Ewert. The bot is really good. It's a flipper. And outflips Bronco for those of you who followed older. But he's a good flipper. I think it's a hydraulic flipper rather than a pneumatic flipper, which makes it so powerful. And now it does well. And he's such a little shit. I wouldn't be mad at him as much if he didn't cheat in a fight. You have to. Everyone has to look at this. Watch Huge versus Hydra. Huge versus Hydra. It's the most controversial match I've ever seen. And it really goes to show that Jake Ewer is a garbage man. But what happened with Hydra is a flipper versus Endgame, which were the champs last year. They won the big nut. I'm sorry I have to keep saying that. I really am sorry. I wish they had a different name for their championship. And it's a vertical spinner, very powerful vertical spinner. Really was a dark horse champion last year. Before we get to that match, we get some comments. You'd be great. Was this one where the tire came off? Yeah, that we talked about Deep Six. That was tire. Yeah, that was so cool. But did it feel like cheating? An axe on wheels. Okay, I should really read these before I move on to the next match. The cheating part. No, I do not think it's cheating because it's top heavy. It's top heavy, and because that axe, all the weight's up there, and a lot of times it goes so fast that it just flies away. It just flies away. So it's not necessarily a great thing to have. It's very powerful. We'll give it that. It's very powerful. The Roy writes, I don't like the endgame nerds. The endgame nerds, they are kind of nerdy, and I like nerds. I'm not trying to say that nerds are bad, but I do kind of think that they're annoying. And they were being pretty annoying here. And one of the thing is they won. They're just a little smug for me. Just a little smug. So these two are meant for each other. Who to have going over? I had Endgame going over just because I hate Hydra and I didn't want to see a Hydra win. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So Hydra comes in hot, flips Endgame, causing him to do a little spiral deal, but lands on its feet. They had more forks, which was very funny. They had forks that were like the size of the bot on the bottom, scraping underneath to try and get underneath Hydra so that they could use their drum spinner, their vertical spinner against it. And they kept getting knocked off. But Hydra broke the flipping mechanism, got stuck, which I was very happy about, which caused Endgame to really go in and humble them, right, Roy? They got humbled. And so that was the thing. They beat him out, beat him KO. So we have the champ winning, going over the boastful Hydra and the Ewert family. We don't like them here at Talkin Bots, Loser Lee's Wrestling, Loser Lee's Pod, Talkin Bots. Hey, thank you all so much for joining me, but I'm not done talking, actually. I wanted to say a few more things. Yeah, so we get Jake Ewert. He's pumped to be back, and he was crushed by this loss. And BattleBots, one little thing I forgot to mention before, right before the main event, Tombstone, the guy who makes Tombstone, I forget his name right now. He's a popular guy, but he's a bad guy. He's like a real villain. He's a real villain that everyone hates. And he presented Jake Ewert with a BattleBots villain trophy in the back, like this weird little backstage segment. Y'all have to see it, but it was just a little annoying because I don't like either of them as people. I just found out that the guy who makes Tombstone is a former corrections officer, and I really don't like him now. For Folsom Prison, I really don't like him now. So there's that. But yeah, very excited for this new season. We got a lot of bots that came back tonight, but we haven't seen all of them. I'm hoping that next week is all about Duck. We all love Duck. We all want Duck to keep going and really do great. Duck is my favorite bot, and you're going to see why next week. You should join me next week. You should all watch next week. Let Discovery know that I sent you too. Let them know that I sent you, and that they need a new bot whisperer. There's this guy in the show called the Bot Whisperer, and he does nothing. I could do that job. I could whisper, give you some insight, give you some whatever. Yeah, let me in, but let them know. And smash that like button. Joe writes, love that you guys are branching out into other non-wrestling topics on occasion. Any plans to cover other shows or movies? Maybe overall thoughts on shows once seasons end. Very interesting, Joe. We haven't figured that out yet, but we're sticking with fun sports. Fun sports is what I call it. Wrestling and BattleBots. That's where we're branching out to right now. But thank you all so much for watching. This has been Talkin Bots. Loser Lee's Wrestling's Talkin Bots with Gear Tooth Red Jefferson. Thank you all so much. Bye. All right, I have to end the stream.